Hello and welcome to Rising Match Day this Saturday, the 6th of November. I'm Owen Evans, looking ahead to tonight's Western Conference quarter-final against RGV, coming up on the show. Bold comments are not in Rising's favour, but how has the camp reacted to pundits' doubts? The playoffs finally underway after a pair of matches last night. And a look at tonight's opponents as they roll into the Valley for a second time this season. But first, let's look back to last weekend as Rising took on Tacoma Defiance. So Rising ending their regular season by hosting Tacoma Defiance, they knew taking the field that El Paso had lost. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay never trailed in their match against Lights. But Rising did. Tacoma needed the win, and Sam Adeniran pouncing on a loose ball, partly of his creation, to give the visitors a 1-0 lead. Into the second half, and Phoenix find their equaliser as substitute Arturo Rodriguez finds space coming in from the left before tapping it past the goalkeeper. That's all the goals in this one, 1-1 the finish. Here's the post-game reaction.
It was so difficult. I think, the guys knew before the game started that El Paso had lost, and the game theoretically, was somewhat meaningless. But we tried to tell them, we still had a chance at number one seed overall. But at the end of the day, winning the Western Conference, being the best team in the West is massive for us, and those are things that we set out at the beginning of the year. That was another goal. So we said win the division, win the West, and then get into the playoffs and get going and get started. So I think performance-wise, you saw that in the first 15-20 minutes of the game. We weren't really connected. We started in a 4-4-2. We didn't really look like ourselves. But again, Tacoma had a lot to play for, and they were very, very narrow. I thought that we should have been better in wide areas. We just weren't, got a few different guys in some different spots because of injuries. And then I think the subs were unbelievable. All four of those guys I subbed in at the 55th minute made a huge impact, and their energy they brought to the game was fantastic. And that's kind of what we're looking forward to going into the playoffs, is that we have guys that can really change the game when we need to.
I don't know. It's really just trying to judge the team we're playing, I think, a little bit. Like I said, we come off firing, and I don't know, that adrenaline hits a lull real quick. But we had a good team talk right there, just right at the end. Just really calling more out of each other, calling more out of us. We're obviously very proud to get the tie tonight, stay undefeated at home, and then be Western Division top of the table. But we know that we have so much more in our tank, and we know that we can come into next week stronger, hungrier, and just much more effort.
So another first half where Rising fell behind the week prior, Rick making no secret about his displeasure with the first half performance. But did he feel the showing was any better against Tacoma?
Well, we played a completely different system for the first time in 4 years, and so I expected there to be a little bit of confusion. I expected there to be some challenges, but all in all, aside from the goal, I think it was just unfortunate. I thought we weren't bad. It wasn't fantastic. We weren't shooting enough, but look, when on Monday, it's easy to look back on it and say, here's what we should have done. But in the moment, we always want to win. The coaches, myself included, so we're going to be hard on them in the moment. But I looked back on the game overall, and I thought that the worst thing that could have happened to us is right before kickoff, we knew that El Paso had lost, and so I'm sure that is in the minds of most of the players.
Well, that slightly shaky form from Rising almost looked as though they'd been limping over the finish line. That attracted criticism from USL pundits Devon Kerr, Gary Bailey and Joe Malfa, among the critiques saying that James Musa lacked a regular quality centre-back pairing, there was nobody at left-back who could step up and get it done, and that Solomon Asante's form hasn't been up to the best of his ability. But Does Rick think that criticism is fair?
No, I don't at all. I think it's disrespectful, and I'm tired of it. We won the league 6 weeks ago. The guys have been on vacation for 6 weeks, and people can criticize our performances. I understand as a coach and as a manager that the world is always about what have you done for me lately, but I think it's unfair that people don't look at our full body of work. I think that's part of the problem with soccer a little bit, that we're trying to Americanize it so much and make the playoffs like the biggest deal, that people forget that this group scored 68 goals in the season and gave up just a little over one per game. I think that's the best we've ever done as a team. So for anybody to criticize our defense, I think, what did we have, the third best defense in the league? It's unfair. The expectations are so high that because of, I think, of what Phoenix Rising has done, and it's built such a good reputation, it just seems to be a little bit disrespectful. So, and I've told the boys that, like, it's us against the world again, and it's just how I like it.
Meanwhile, with the mix of players that Rising has, what's been the role that the veteran players have been taking this past week?
I mean, they trying to always to be in top of us, motivate us. I think that helps a lot, and that they help the team to be together,
And of course, one player on the team that has won it all, part of the last team to have won it all, the 2019 Real Monarchs, Tate Schmidt. What does he think will be the key to coming away with the crown by the end of the month?
I think it's just staying calm, do what we do best, play our style, focus on getting the fans involved, focus on using this team's strength as their weakness, and just take it one game at a time. So I think just have an understanding that our last game of the year is this weekend, so we have to come out on top. And if we just take it one step at a way, we'll see ourselves down to the finish line at the end.
And of course, Tate, one of the local faces on this side. Does it mean just that little bit more to be chasing the title with his hometown team?
Grew up here, got to train here in the college ranks, got to follow this team all throughout my youth. Want to help bring a championship back to this team, so extra motivation for sure. But just got to do my part and be one piece of the puzzle to help this team reach its potential.
And going into the playoffs, what should be the minimum expectation for Rising? Here's what Rick had to say when asked that question.
I don't know. That's a good media question. Like, for me, I just want to win one more game. That's it, and I remember when I first got this job and I was talking with Didier, no one expected us to go to the final that year. We had never won a playoff game, and here we are 4 years later, and everyone's telling us there's great expectations. It's not like our franchise is 20, 30 years old and we have championship trophies. I mean, that's the one trophy that's missing from our case right now. So would we like to win a championship? Or do we want to get a star? Absolutely. But again, you can't get that unless you beat RGV this weekend.
Well, let's take a look now at what happened last night as the playoffs opened up. So opening night of the playoffs, El Paso and Oakland at a stalemate for much of the game. Yes, the hosts on top really, but both sides had chances they'd regret missing. In the end though, substitute Jeremy Bakila, he's actually Roots' top scorer. He's the difference. Keeps his cool despite the boot in his face to bury it. Locomotive, their first season in 2019, they've made both conference finals. This is the first time they haven't gotten there. A massive upset to get us going. Also in play last night, the match to decide who Rising will face if they make it through. San Antonio hosting San Diego Loyal. And it's a pair of set-piece goals for the hosts. Nathan getting free on the first one with the header, before Santiago Patino making the most of a frankly shambolic defensive effort. San Antonio take it 2-0, they advance. So those are the only two that we know to have made it through, and the first two casualties there as well. Oakland to face the winner of Orange County or Colorado Springs, the winner of Rising against RGV facing San Antonio. All those other games in the West taking place today. Out East, all those games today as well, except for Birmingham Legion against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They'll face off tomorrow, up until the league final, all these games airing on ESPN+. Well, that's who Rising will face in the next round, should they get there. Of course, that isn't a guarantee. Rising hasn't won a knockout match in 90 minutes in its last 7 attempts, and only one of those was won in extra time. But let's have a look now at tonight's opponent and how they ended up here to face Rising. RGV went into their game knowing a win would see them qualify for the playoffs regardless of results elsewhere, and a penalty in the first few minutes saw them take the lead that they needed, Rodrigo Lopez tucking it away. Kyle Edwards then doubling the advantage in stoppage time. El Paso clawed one back through Chapa Herrera, but minutes later Edwards again up the other end, getting on the end of a low ball into the box. Emilio Acaza rounding out the scoring on the night, straightforward sounding in the end for the Toros, defeating El Paso 4-1. So RGV coming off that win against El Paso, surely they must be coming in confident.
I think RGV had beaten El Paso before they came here. So as far as I'm concerned, they'll remember what it was like when they came here. So whatever confidence they have, we're going to try and take it away from them right at the beginning.
But what's the word on that from the team itself?
It is a great opportunity, and in playoff you cannot say that we cannot win. We can win. We can win. They can win, of course. They have more tools and more reasons throughout the season. But it's just one game, and that changes everything. And we're not playing any more regular season. We're playing the playoff. So it's just one game. Otherwise, we go home. So we're gonna try. We're gonna try our best, and our players are all tuned in and happy and excited, understanding that we're gonna play the best team from the Western Conference. So it is the reality. It's excited. It's exciting. The situation is exciting. We're happy. We that was our goal, but now we want more. Obviously, we want more because we know how good it is, how good it feels. We're preparing ourselves to try to do that. It's not gonna be easy. That's for sure. It hasn't been easy. The last 3 games, they haven't been easy for us, but we have done it, and it felt good. So we want to continue that feeling.
But could Rising be at a bit of a disadvantage here? After all, the opposition have already been battling as though any week could seal their fate, while Rising just hasn't had the same urgency lately.
I mean, that's the age-old question. We got to rest some of our key players, and we got to get guys fully recovered and fully fit and prepared for this, whereas they were fighting for their lives, and there's players that had to do 90-plus minutes every week, and they never had that kind of mental recovery moment. So are they focused and sharp and ready to go? Yeah, but maybe because they haven't played here at Phoenix. There's something that I want people to recognize, that no one had won at Tacoma when we went there. After we beat Tacoma, how many games did they lose after that? What do you think the other coaches? These are good, smart coaches in this league. They watch what we've done, and then they can replicate it. What about when we went to San Diego and we beat San Diego? What happened to San Diego after that loss? How many times have we lost more than once in a row? How many times have we lost 2 games in a row? This team doesn't do that. And it's not about flipping a switch. It's about being ourselves and being aggressive and going after it. And we know what we want to do. We know who we are. And the players are prepared to do it.
Well, this side very different to the usual struggling RGV side that we've come to expect. But what's been the difference between them this season and last?
I think we brought in a bunch of guys with a lot more experience, a lot more maturity, and they were able to come in, be leaders on the field and in the locker room. And that helped us through some difficult times, just be able to bounce back and keep moving forward and keep pushing.
Of course, they're not the only ones changing. Darren Mattock's now leading the line for Phoenix. The last time these two sides met, it was Rufat Dadashov. So how will the Toros look to counter him differently?
We'll definitely be aware of the pace and behind and that threat. And that's going to go in with our, just sticking together, making sure everyone's on the same page, dropping the line when we need to, getting pressure on the ball, making sure everyone's doing their job to minimize any threats.
And of course, in the last meeting, all three of Rising's goals in that 3-1 win coming at the south end. RGV goalkeeper Tyler Derrick looking to have been affected by the chants that were thrown at him. But what kind of an impact can the crowd have in a game like this?
I don't think the fans made an impact on our players. I think we didn't have a good performance, and in 15 minutes we were terrible. And we reacted very well, and we ended the game having better control. We're in the process to build a team. We're building the team. We think that we have found a better balanced teams so far at the end of the season. And hopefully we can reinforce that, having a fantastic game against the best team in the Western Conference. If we can complete that, I think it's gonna be very positive, and I think it's gonna be important for the franchise, for what we're building here.
Well, Bandidos and Union 602, your move. But on the field, what's going to be the biggest challenge for Rising tonight?
I think being patient. We want to play forward. We want to get that first goal, but it's also being understanding of the game, being smart in the times that when we can maybe settle it down, we can take a breath and find that extra pass. But then also knowing if there's an opportunity, we have to go forward and we have to find that goal. So I think just finding the balance of both, but also having the patience and understanding of when to pick and choose those moments.
All right, so that's about all we got time for. One last thing though, let's get some playoff predictions. I'm joined here by Juan Aresti and Jake Anderson. Boys, what have you got for me? Let's start with you, Juan.
Well, Owen, I think Phoenix Rising has come too far on the championship this time. Playoffs are coming at this moment, and I think the team has what it takes to take the championship. They have one of the best squads, if not the best squad on the league, and I think they are going to show it this Saturday and the coming Saturdays that they play here at Wildhorse Pass.
Perfect. That's a bold move. Jake, do you agree?
Well, first off, apologies, we're in a tie right now. It is not a match day.
Controversial.
But, as Juan just said, I think they definitely have the ability to win the title. A lot of teams do, though, and that's kind of a problem that I foresee if they play a team that's going to sit back and just absorb pressure and hit them on the counter, which may not necessarily be unbreakdownable, for lack of a better word, in the first two rounds. But I think if you do get El Paso in the conference final, I know it's going to be here at Wildhorse Pass, but that team, Mark Lowry, he's put it into his squad. They know how to sit back. They know how to absorb pressure, and we've seen you don't have to win this game, right? You just have to go 0-0 and go to pens, and then that's a coin flip. And we can see in years past, just look at what El Paso has done. They make the conference final, and they win their penalty shootouts. So if Phoenix can avoid El Paso, I think they can really make a run and at least go to the final. But El Paso is the one team in the Western Conference I fear for Phoenix.
Well, that's all we got time for this morning. Tonight's game, a 7:30 p.m. kickoff just over the fence over there at Wildhorse Pass. Enjoy the match. Goodbye.